Assalamu alaikum, Miss Fatma is speaking. I hope you are in good health. Today, inshallah, we'll discuss another approaches and methods of teaching foreign language. Teachers can use these approaches as the ways they teach. Yes, the first part of this lecture is about communicative approach. We'll discuss these outlines, inshallah. Background definition, goals of communicative approach, characteristics, of communicative approach, theory of language, theory of learning, dimensions of communicative competence, design, which includes syllabus, objectives, the rules of teacher, learners rule, and the rule of instructional material, procedures, advantages and disadvantages of communicative approach. Yes, background of communicative approach. The communicative approach emerged in the early 1970s as a result for the work of the Council of Europe experts. A group of experts saw the need to focus on communicative proficiency rather than mastery of structure. Communicative competency means proficiency means communicative competence. What is a competence? Yes, a competence is a group of knowledge, skills, values, and tendencies that are related to a job or a work and necessary for an employer to be able to work successfully and properly. What is a communicative competence? Yes, communicative competence here means the ability to use language correctly and appropriately to accomplish communicative competence. The outcome of language learning process is the ability to communicate completely. Then mastery of structures. What is the structure? The structure means the form. The structures means the form is the grammatical rules. The structure is the grammatical rules. For example, components of the sentence that compose the rule. Another example here, if I ask you what is the form of a present simple, your answer can be the form of a present simple is s or es plus verb. Yes, this is the structure. The origins of the communicative approach are found in the changes in the British language teaching tradition in the late 1960s. Situational language teaching was the major approach at that time. What is a situational approach? Yes, according to the situational approach, and to ensure that the language that is being taught is realistic, all the words and sentences must grow of some real situation or imagined real situation. Thus, the meaning of words are tied up with the situation in which they are used. The need to focus language teaching on the communicative proficiency became important. In 1972, Wilkins proposed a functional or communicative syllabus for language teaching. His contribution was an analysis of the communicative meanings that the language learner needs to understand and express, rather than describe the core of language through traditional concepts of grammar and vocabulary. Yes, Wilkins defined two categories of meanings. Here we have two categories of meanings, which are notional category, means conceptual. Yes, the meaning relations expressed by forms within the sentence. For example, time, sequence, quantity, location, frequency. Yes, The second category is categories of communicative function. what the language is used for. For example, the social purpose of the utterance, okay, such as request, offers, complaints, agreement, disagreement. Yes. So, okay, the communicative approach is as a reaction against situational language teaching and ideolingualism. Okay, the main aim of communicative approach is to make communicative competence the goal of language teaching and develop procedures for the teaching of the 4 language skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Okay, here, okay, communicative competence. Okay, what is communicative competence? Here, communicative competence, yes, is the ability, okay, to use language correctly and appropriately. Yes. What is communicative language teaching? What is communicative language teaching? Okay, here we have, okay, many different definitions of communicative language teaching. Okay, we can, and okay, to summarize these definitions, okay, communicative language teaching is a set of principles about the goals of language teaching, how learners learn a language, the kinds of classroom activities that best facilitate learning, the role of teachers and learners in the classroom. Okay, it is the theory that language is communication. What is a communication? Yes, communication is the transmission of messages and the correct interpretation of information between people. The communicative approach is the most recognized approach of language teaching. Also, it is an integration of grammatical rules, okay, which mean, okay, structure and functional teaching. Functions means what is the language used for. Yeah. So, communicative approach is a method of teaching a foreign language which stresses the importance of learning to communicate information and ideas in the language. In other words, it is a kind of foreign language teaching which is based on the communication using the target language. Yes. Communicative approach, yes, is based on the idea that learning language successfully comes through having to communicate real meaning. Yes. This means that communicative language teaching makes use of real-life situations that necessitate communication. The teacher sets up a situation that students are likely to encounter in real life. Unlike the ideolingual method of language teaching, which depends on repetition and drills, the communicative approach can leave students in suspense as to the outcome of a class exercise, which will vary according to their reactions and responses. So the main goal of this approach is to make use of language in real-life situations. Yes. Here, okay, what are the goals of communicative approach? Yes. Here, okay, the goals of communicative approach are as follows. To become communicatively competent, this means that students will be able to do something well. Yes, to use the language appropriate for given social context. This means that, okay, social context, okay, refers to the specific setting in which social interaction takes place, and to manage the process of relating meaning with interlocutors. Okay, interlocutors mean yes, someone okay, who is involved in a conversation. Yes, so communicative language teaching aims to make communicative competence the goal of language teaching. Develop procedures for the teaching of the 4 language skills, which are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Theory of language. Yes, what is the theory of language according to the communicative approach? Yes, the goal of language teaching is to develop communicative competence. This means that what the speaker needs to know in order to communicatively competence in a speech community. Yes, in Himes' view, a person who acquires communicative competence acquires both knowledge and ability for language use. Yes, this means that knowledge and language use respond to whether something is formally possible, whether something is convenient, whether something is appropriate in relation to a context in which it's used, whether something is in fact done, actually performed, and what it's doing entails. Yes. So according to communicative approach, language is for communication, and linguistic competence and the knowledge of forms and their meanings are part of the communicative competence. Another aspect of this knowledge is to learn the use of the language. Yes. Here we have another linguistic theory of communicative language teaching is Halliday's functional account of language use. Halliday elaborated a powerful theory of the functions of language. He described 7 basic functions that language performs for children learning their first language. Yes, these functions are, yes, instrumental function focuses on using language to get things. Yes, regulatory function focuses on using language to control the behavior of others. Yes, interactional function depends on using language to create interaction with others. Yes, personal function depends on using, personal function, yes, depends on using language to express personal feelings and meanings. Heuristics function focuses on using language to learn and to discover. Imaginative function, focuses on using language to create a world of the imagination. And the last one is representational function, which focuses on using language to communicate information. What are the communicative competences? Okay, or how many communicative competences are there? Okay, we have 4 competences areas. Yes, here we have linguistic competence, sociolinguistic competence, discourse competence, and strategic competence. Yes, here, linguistic competence. Yes, linguistic competence is knowing how to use grammar, syntax, and vocabulary, yes, of language. For example, what words do I use? How to put them in sentences and phrases. Yes, sociolinguistic competence is knowing how to use, and respond to a language appropriately, given the setting, the topic, the relations between people communicating. Yes, understand and produce utterances in terms of context, considering status, rule, and social norms, etc. Yes. The third competence here is discourse competence. Yes, is knowing how to interpret the larger context. And we have the strategic competence. Yes, it relates to verbal and non-verbal strategies used to compensate breakdowns or shortage to enhance communication. Yes, the strategic competence is knowing how to recognize and repair communication breakdowns. For example, how can I express my ideas if I don't know something? How do I know I have misunderstood when someone has misunderstood me? Yes. So, communicative competence is the ability to understand and use language effectively to communicate in authentic social and school environments. In linguistic competence, linguistic competence here, is the ability to understand and using, for example, about that is the ability to use and understanding vocabulary, language, conversation, such as grammar, punctuation, and spelling, syntax, such as sentence structure. Yes, in the sociolinguistic competence, the ability, focuses on the ability to sociolinguistic, yes, is the ability to have awareness of social rules of language, such as formality, politeness, directions, yes, non-verbal behaviors. Non-verbal behaviors depends on gestures, movements, yes, cultural references such as idioms, expressions, background knowledge, yes, in the discourse competence, yes, here, using techniques to overcome language gaps, for example, here, yes, plan and assess the effectiveness of communication, achieve conversational fluency, and modify text for audience and purpose. Yes. In the strategic competence, students can understand how ideas are connected through patterns of organization and cohesive and transitional device. Yes, transitional devices. What are the characteristics of communicative view of language? Yes. Yes. Here, the characteristics of communicative language, as follow. Language is a system for the expression of meaning, and the main goal of language is to allow interaction and communication, between students. The structure of language reflects its functional and communicative uses. Yes. Functional means what is the language used for, yes, and primary units of language are categorized of functional and communicative meaning. Yes, here we have three elements of communicative approach, which are the communication principle, the task principle, the meaningfulness principle. Yes. The first element is the communication principle. Yes, in this element, activities that involve real communication promote learning. And another element is the task principle. Activities in which language is used for carrying out meaningful tasks promote learning. And the third the third element is the meaningfulness principle. Okay, language that is meaningful to the learner supports the learning process. Yes, here, okay, for these principles, okay, we have activities such as make real communication the focus of language teaching. Teacher can provide students opportunities to experiment and try out. A teacher can be tolerant to to learners' errors. Also, teacher, okay, this approach focuses, okay, on develop, okay, both fluency and accuracy for students. Yes, this approach lets students discover grammar rules. Yes, so the principles of communicative approach, okay, are learners learn through using it to communicate. Authentic and meaningful communication should be the goal of classroom activities. Fluency is an important dimension of communication. Now, what is the difference among fluency and accuracy? Yes, fluency means using the language without hesitation and pauses to find words one needs. Accuracy is the aspect of language and language learning which emphasizes the importance of correctness in pronunciation, grammar, and vocabularies. Yes. Communication involves the integration of different language skills, and learning is a process of creative construction and involves trial and error. This means, what is trial and error? This means that the teacher provides students opportunities to experiment and try out. Yes, here, okay, design, which includes, okay, syllabus, objectives, teacher's rule, student's rule, and the rule of instructional material. Yes, here, okay, about the syllabus, okay, yes, in communicative approach, syllabus includes description of the objective of foreign language courses. Okay, also it includes situations in which they might typically use language too. For example, here, okay, about situations such as travel, business. Okay, yes, syllabus includes, okay, topic they might need to talk about, such as education, shopping. Also, it includes functions they need language for, requesting information, expressing agreement and disagreement, and the notions made use of in communication, such as time, frequency, duration, and vocabulary and grammar needed. Yes. So, okay, the classroom activities that could be used as the basis of communicative methodology, such as group work, task work, and information gap activities. Yes. If I ask you, what kind of syllabus does your course book have? What kind of syllabus does your course book have? Yes. In general, most course books that advocate the communicative language teaching approach create more eclectic syllabi in which they consider the different aspects of learning a language. Okay, so communicative language teaching uses almost any activity that engage learners in authentic communication, functional communication activities in which communication is involved, and social interaction activities such as conversation and discussion sessions, dialogues, and role plays. Yes, here, okay, we have an example, okay, about, okay, what is the syllabus includes. For example, here, unit 1 is about making friends, pages from 1 to 10, and the function here we have the objectives of this unit and the functions, topics, the grammar, and vocabulary. Yes. What are the types of activities, that the teacher can use in communicative approach? Here we have accuracy and fluency, mechanical, meaningful, and communicative practice, information gaps, information gathering, role plays, opinion sharing. Let's discuss these activities. Here we have accuracy, and activities depends on accuracy, and some activities depends on fluency. Here, accuracy means using the language without hesitation and pauses to find words one needs. The activities which depends on accuracy, must focus on reflective. These activities reflect classroom use of language, focuses on the formation of correct examples of language, practice language out of context, practical small samples of language, controlled choice of language. Accuracy focuses on the language, using the language without hesitation and pauses. Yes, accuracy here, accuracy is the aspect of language and the language learning which emphasizes the importance of correctness in pronunciation, grammar, and vocabularies. So the activities, which focuses on fluency, reflect natural use of language, focus on achieving communication, require meaningful use of language, require the use of communication strategies, produce language that may not be predictable, and seek to link language used to context. Yes, just at your home, try to identify activities aimed to developing accuracy and fluency in the Palestinian English language course box. Yes, do it at your home. Yes. Here we have a mechanical, meaningful, and communicative practice. Yes, we have an example about these types of teaching and learning activities. Here, yes, his space is a soldier. This exercise, an example about mechanical practice. Yes, meaningful practice. Here we have an example about it. On the weekend, I'm going to on the weekend, I'm going to visit my grandma in the morning. I'm going to pray in the afternoon, but I'm not going to visit my aunt, for example. Yes. Here, an example about communicative practice. You can ask your classmates about 3 things he considers or she considers when selecting a movie. Yes. At your home, just try to identify these types of practice in Palestinian English language course box, primary or elementary or secondary. Yes, primary, elementary, and secondary course box. Yes. Here we have another examples about types of learning and teaching activities. Yes. Here we have another example here. Complete the conversation, then ask a partner your question. Give your own answers. What is the type of this activity? Yes. Here. This is meaningful practice. Yes. Here a class activity. Ask your classmates about their interests and hobbies. Make notes. What is the type of practices? Here. This is communicative practice. Excellent. Yes. Yes, and here we have another example about types of learning and teaching.